Hi, welcome to another episode of Sankofa Pan African series. You've been doing a lot of work on women's issues, access to legal justice, child marriage, electoral reforms, and so on. So please share some of your work in this area with us.
I started working on child marriage issues when I was placed at the University of Cape Town as a fellow, where I was conducting research to see what kind of mechanisms that NGOs throughout the Southern African region have in place in order to combat child marriage. And as we know, child marriage is a global phenomenon that impacts millions of girls annually. We are talking about girls as young as 7 who are forced into marriage because of economic challenges and as well as cultural norms. And for me, I find that to be unacceptable. And I just wanted to learn more about what organizations were doing in order to eradicate this kind of practice, because you rob the girl child of life, liberty, and happiness when she is forced into marriage at a very early age and prematurely. So I'm not against arranged marriage as well, as long as there are adults, right? Because I understand that it's a cultural practice, and I respect culture so much that I would never say that I'm against arranged marriages, because I think in some cases they work, in some cases they don't work. But the point I'm trying to make is that when children should not be getting married. Children should be left to learn, to be groomed, to become productive members of society, to be loved, to be nurtured, not to be married. It's unacceptable, and it is a practice that we have to change all over the world. I understand that there was a time in our life where maybe our great-great-grandparents were married early on, and that practice was acceptable. But this is the 20th century, and we cannot allow our babies to be forced into marriage because of economic challenges and cultural norms. It's unacceptable.
So this was what you found in the Southern African region, and then what developments have taken place in that area on this aspect since then?
This was work that I did when I was pursuing my doctor of jurisprudence. I know that a lot of the countries throughout the region have amended their constitutions to increase the age of child marriage. But what you have is you have the
Summary law?
customary law. And that's often the challenge, right? And then you also have folks in the village who they live a different kind of lifestyle. They don't adhere to the country's constitution. So it's ensuring that those people, regardless of where they are provided with the resources. And most importantly, we need to provide women and families with opportunities, because when you have nothing, right, you don't have access to some of your most basic necessities, child marriage then becomes very appealing. I can see how it happens, but it's nonetheless unacceptable. And I think that the government, the legal profession, the private sector, and everyone must work together to ensure those practices are completely eradicated throughout the African continent. And even right here in the United States, child marriage is a problem in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm completely against that.
What about your work in electoral reforms and social legal justice? Would you like to share some of that with us?
Absolutely. So when I was, I did a lot of work in Chiang Mai, Thailand, where my job was to train law professors on how to put together law school clinics to ensure that people from some of the most vulnerable parts of society could have access to legal justice. Because the notion of law school clinics is a novelty in most countries in Southeast Asia. So it was a way, because, in the United States, law clinics are very common. In fact, many law schools here in the United States have them, where they provide services, whether it's in housing, healthcare, elder law, all those civil types of law areas provide services at no cost to people in the community. So we wanted to train those professors to help them to understand how to put together a law school clinic, and also why it's so critically important for it to be available to some of society's most vulnerable. Because what you see is that when people don't have access to legal justice, they are often taken advantage of. Sometimes when you have a lawyer just show up with you in court, it makes a difference. Just the presence of a lawyer standing beside you in a courtroom could really impact your case. So we want to make sure folks are equipped and folks have access to those resources ultimately.
This discussion will be continued in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Sankofa Pan-African series channel, like our videos, and please share them with your contacts.